What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Filsinger Games Character Spotlight with Mike and Brock.
Mike,
I'm Brock, and tonight we're kicking off CPC 2108 with Code Enforcer and Code Enforcer.
what?
Yep.
Now, this is the kickoff of Canadian-born artist Jeremy Sue.
Yeah. I believe Tom made the announcement officially for the first time at GalactiCon 2.
Yeah,
Remember, he showed off some of the early sketches. I don't even think there were any final drawings yet at the time, but it was a little perk for us that made it to that show.
yep. It
Everybody
was,
really liked it at first. Like, I think his first few sets were really good, but then it kind of took a turn, but we can talk about that later.
yep.
But for now, I think it was a nice change of pace from Bendis for his first outing. There's still a couple pieces of Bendis art in this set as well. But yeah, this is Jeremy Sue's debut. He hung around for a few years.
Yeah, I think five or six.
Yeah, he had a pretty good run.
We could be wrong. Kevin Butcher will correct us.
He will. But yeah, this set came out in 98. CPC and GWF were in the full-on Fed wars at that time. I think this is when they were officially like recognized as two separate Feds. I think they were beforehand, but then this is when like it started to like really branch out.
Yeah. Well, you can pick which one you want to start out with.
Let's start with the little guy, the cruiserweight code enforcer. Now this will contain some spoilers.
Yeah.
There was a lot of speculation as to who this character might be whenever he debuted.
But considering
Uh,
this is 20 years old, we can live with spoilers.
yeah, that's true. Uh, Hammer, Raven, Pulsar, Talisman, those were all guys who were suspected to be under the mask. But it actually ended up being a new character named Uritar.
Hero tar girl. Okay, I'll do the dramatic reading.
Here we go. My favorite part.
Rumors ran wild when the Code Enforcer appeared on the scene in 2108. That the wrestler was portrayed by two men, later proven true, and people wondered which wrestlers might be underneath the mask. For repeatedly smaller Enforcer recently departed wrestlers like Hammer, Raven, Pulsar, and Talisman were thrown around as possibilities, especially after Manslaughter was revealed as one of the masked men.
Oh no.
It was actually an entirely new to the GWF, a wrestler named Yuritar, who filled the role of a more agile Code Enforcer. In 2110, he asked Commando Sam to reveal his identity so the fans would get to know who was responsible for his victories. I'll just end it there because then it transfers over.
Yeah.
Talk about the later stuff.
hmm
So
So
for two
he
years, he's Code Enforcer.
and he did get a new card 2 years later. So um it's a pretty stacked card. His raw rating is 43, 47. You don't have the card, do you?
It's upstairs. I forgot to grab it. It's
Okay.
my bad.
So he's got all A's in his charts except for his ring rating is a B. He's got a DQ of 4, -4 agility, 0 power, and a 2 cage rating, a 4-1 pin. He's got 3 straight moves on level 2 to take you to level 3. He's got a +3 finisher, heads will roll, and he keeps you down. Um, very little weakness on this card. So he was a good debut for
Does
the
he have any tags?
he's got 2 tags on level 1, 1 tag on level 2.
Okay.
Because these guys later become a Code Enforcers tag team. Next year they become a tag team together.
Yeah, I know I have plans for one and two
hmm
because currently I use the original Code Enforcer.
Did that guy end up being anybody else? Or is he just always the Code Enforcer? I
I
think
think he
was
was always just a Code Enforcer.
yeah, he was always just the Code Enforcer. And nobody ever his identity was never revealed. But, spoiler, Yuratar is his son.
Oh,
I just saw that on the COTG wiki.
because my plans is, and I've been working on the names. I was going to call them either Code Enforcer 1, 2, and 3 by
Hmm.
order which they appear in, or I was going to do something like the machines, like strong machine, big
Yeah.
machine. So I was going to be like, strong Code Enforcer, fast Code Enforcer, just to break them up so the fans know just something different.
Hmm.
But I was going to have them be a trios.
That's cool. I like how these guys are brought in. Like at first, like the player, the promoter knew they
Yeah,
were two different guys, but it was never proven, it was never out in the open to the GWF characters that it was two different characters, which I thought was pretty cool. So you would put the guy who had the better odds against who they were fighting, I guess.
yeah.
Which is a neat little gimmick. I'm glad they didn't drag it out too long. They only kept
Oh,
it
just
going
two
for,
years.
yeah, because that could have got stale pretty quick. Like there's only so many times you can try and pull one over on the bad guys before they'd catch on.
Yeah, and I think the NGO has a code enforcer as well.
They do. He's
Okay,
a
so
little person.
yeah, he's a little code enforcer.
Yep, with a crowbar or tire iron.
Yeah, tire iron.
Same costume though. I don't have that card to show off with me right now
I just remembered it. I'm like, oh yeah,
though.
I think that might have been one of Chad's.
Could do a whole stable of code enforcers.
Oh yeah, but like I said, I'm and for people who are just wondering, yeah, I just found out that these are like manslaughter and because I don't read ahead.
Yeah. Spoiler.
I couldn't find them in the book, and Brock is like, "Oh, look up this name. Oh, look, manslaughter is the big one. Oh, okay. I
Yup.
currently use manslaughter. I did not know he becomes something different and becomes a good guy. At
Hmm.
least I'm not going to have manslaughter and code enforcer feud or tag
Tag
team.
team. You can make them team with this one though. Really throw people for a loop.
Oh, manslaughter team with that one. Yeah.
Hmm.
So that'll be the gimmick at which I'm working towards. Now it's
Okay.
still a couple years away.
Yeah.
2106, but like I said, I like to plan out. I look at my guys and I'm like, yeah, I want to get to these.
Yeah, these are definitely I think these guys were on the cover of the handbook if I remember correctly. And they just look cool. Like they look like superheroes.
Yeah.
Definitely shows off Jeremy Sue's strengths as an artist.
And Jeremy kept up the GWF tradition of wearing gloves.
Uh-huh. Dishwashing
Right.
gloves.
It's nice to see
Well, I think the
that
original code enforcer that Bendis designed
that
had
every artist
the.
has to have wrestlers with gloves.
Hmm.
Even though when I think about it, there's almost no wrestlers that wore gloves.
AJ Styles.
Yeah,
There's a few. We've talked about it before.
I think we went through like Undertaker
Yeah.
at one point.
Kane wears one,
Yeah,
like Michael Jackson.
about 5 years left in my career, I started wearing them.
There you go.
Um, I can't remember why I started wearing them. I thought it just looked cool.
Probably just subconsciously you were trying to pay tribute to the dishwashing gloves.
Probably. And this is before I even saw AJ Styles wrestle.
I don't think he started with them. I think he added them recently.
Yeah, he added them when he came to the Fed.
Hmm. Yeah. AJ Styles.
How would you upgrade this one? How
Uh, I don't know. Maybe give him an add one move. Yeah, I'll give him an add one move because he's already pretty tough. I'll make the Enforcer DDT at the number six rule on level two, Enforcer DDT three, add one. That'll really put him over the edge.
I would to put him over the edge for me. That ring becomes an A.
There you go, straight A's.
Four A's.
Because his out of the ring has no choice attached to it. So he has to do it.
Yeah,
And that could flip on a 50-50% roll there at a B. So
yeah. Because it's if you're fighting somebody with an A, it's seven or higher, they take over,
hmm
or six or higher, they take over. If you're fighting somebody with an A and you're only a B, because it's better ring rating.
yeah. So yeah. You definitely want to, yeah, bring that up to make it a 50-50 shot.
Yeah, always play the odds. Keep
Yeah,
telling
so
people that.
that's Eurotar Code Enforcer. His identity to be revealed just in 2 years. I guess manslaughter must have been revealed quicker than that. Yeah, he goes back to being manslaughter, I think, the following year.
Well, let us find out. Let's do the dramatic reading of Adis Tetrak.
Yes, the bigger Code Enforcer.
So the dramatic reading is a behemoth of a young fighter, Manslaughter, entered the GWF with the Masked Assassins in 2103 and languished in the lower and mid card matches for much of his tenure. Disillusioned with his direction in the group, he suddenly departed in 2108. Seemingly off the scene, little did most of the galaxy know that Commissioners Omega and Morpheus had taken the power wrestler under their wings to help perpetrate the resurrection of the Code Enforcer of the mid 2080s. Code Enforcer was actually two different wrestlers this time, one larger and stronger, Manslaughter, one smaller and quicker, Uritar. The duplicate characters, who looked very different under the same style of costume, caused much wailing and gnashing of the teeth by the CPC, who called the GWF on their deception from the start. Manslaughter's role in this was hidden until the next year. He continued as a code enforcer, however, seemingly enjoying his heightened status as a member of Commando Sam's Federation defense fighters, but the lighter code enforcer Yuritar attacked his partner in 2110 and the two feuded for a time.
What?
Didn't see that coming.
No,
The manslaughter becomes a good guy and stays a good guy.
that's interesting.
I did not see that coming.
No. So this was his upgraded card. His manslaughter card, his raw rating was a 2531. His code enforcer card was a 46
Oh,
47. So
Jesus.
huge. Almost doubled his his abilities here.
I think Omega and Morpheus got to start training more wrestlers.
Yeah, I mean they're pretty good at it. He's only got one down on his entire card and it has a leave on it. He's got a double finisher. Code Crowbar is a zero, then heads will roll. He has us a +2. He's got three reversals on both level one and level two offense. Only one tag on his card though, on level one. He keeps you down for the most part. He has the Power Bomb three choice G at the number one slot on level three, so that's a level three move or a death jump.
Yeah, which is an agility move
hmm
if you want to go that route.
He's got a double out of the ring. He has a C in ropes, which I know you don't like.
No.
He's got an A turnbuckle, A ring, B death jump. +1 agility, -4 power. 5-2 pin, cage rating of 2.
Sounds pretty solid.
Yeah, he's tough. I think Yuritar's got a slightly better raw rating, but both very, very tough characters. The double finisher, I think, might give him a little bit of an edge too.
Yeah, I, I'm a fan of double finishers like 5 and 6, 5-6, 5-6. Anybody who's
hmm
ever wrestled me in tournaments knows I have a pretty good thing of hitting that.
hmm
So it's and I think it was Raven who had the first double finisher that was not just plus zeros.
Okay, I don't remember.
I
But
think he had a plus one plus two, and then that kind of became something where guys would have two different finishers, but one would always be stronger than the next.
and if you think of like modern wrestling, that's kind of been the case.
Yep.
I mean, just look at the guys now. Like most WWE guys seem to have like a finisher you could do to everybody, and then like a big one that you can pull off on most people.
But most finishers, finishers aren't protected like they used to be.
No, not at all. At least not at WrestleMania. That triple threat match between Seth Rollins, CM Punk, and Roman Reigns. I bet you every one of their finishers were kicked out of at least twice.
I have not seen that. I didn't watch any WrestleMania.
Really, the
I was
matches were
away.
decent.
I was away on vacation.
Mm. You have Netflix though.
Yeah, I could watch it. I know all the outcomes, and I was like,
The match you want to watch is the women's triple threat match for the
I heard that was good.
yeah, we'll definitely check that one out from night two for the Raw women's title.
I'm not even sure who's the Raw Women's Champion right now. Is it still Rhea?
EOS EO Sky.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. She carried it into Mania, left Mania with it.
Oh, is Rhea the SmackDown champion?
Nope. She doesn't have a title.
Oh, she lost it again?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was a quick reign.
Yeah. It really was.
Because the first one was over a year.
Hmm. Then her and Liv Morgan passed it back and forth.
Yeah, I
But
know. Sometimes I just don't feel like watching wrestling for like streaks.
there's just so much. It's a lot to keep up with. I don't watch AEW at all anymore.
I've never watched AEW
Yeah.
just because I don't get it.
Hmm.
Not on any of the channels I get.
Yeah.
I
I don't
get
get it.
TNA, I get TNA and Raw,
There you go.
and that is it. And I like watching TNA because I wrestled with a bunch of those guys
Hmm.
for years, so it's nice watching. And now that I see Josh is going to AEW,
Hmm. Do you get Max up there? The Max streaming service?
we could. I don't have it.
Okay, because you could watch it on there. They simulcast on there now. All of WWE's on Netflix now for you,
Yep.
which is nice. We have to have several streaming services to watch it all here.
But so this Code Enforcer 2,
Hmm.
how would you power creep this young fella, this young manslaughter?
Well, this is his upgraded card.
Oh yeah, we don't power creep upgrades.
Yeah. So, and he drops whenever he gets another card, he drops to a 40, 41, and 21, 14. And then in 21, 17, he goes down to a 33, 34 when he goes back to being manslaughter.
Yeah, it's still a pretty good card.
Yeah, like he stays pretty tough through his career.
It's not too bad then.
But I mean, just for fun, I think I'd change that ropes rating. 'Cause he's
Yeah,
supposed to be a top guy. I don't think any top guy should have a C in anything.
no, definitely not. I was, but because we're nearing GalactiCon season,
Hmm.
we thought we'd take a break from our Mount Rushmores and switch over to our talking about GalactiCon and pumping it up and
Yeah.
things we like and that. I know this year will be different for us because one, this will be the first year we don't have smoke,
Hmm.
and this is the first time like we've lost members before. We lost Steve Minskoff,
Hmm.
but Steve had stopped being a regular a long time ago.
Hmm.
Steve was an original guy for about the first 5 years, and then he would just show up sporadically.
Yeah,
And not many people got to know Steve.
right.
But Smoke had shown up for probably 15 of them in a row.
He had a really good streak going, I think. May have missed one or two here and there, but I mean, he was definitely a mainstay for sure.
Yeah.
He would travel.
And I've talked to Jerron, and he's going to still come out.
Oh, good. I was hoping he would make it out.
Yeah, I've texted him a few times, and yeah, he's going to come out. He's
Awesome.
going to he's still going to continue to make it. So that's good on that part.
Yeah, definitely.
And you know, tournaments. I do look forward to the tournaments. Now,
hmm
I can honestly say, from the people who have said that are going to come, like John Trevino is going to show up.
hmm
I haven't seen John since Galacticon 2.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever met him. I know the name,
Yeah,
but I don't think we've ever met.
yeah, because I hadn't talked to him in ages, and then I saw him. I was sitting around home one time, and I'm going to start messaging some of these guys who I
Yeah.
used to talk to, through either letters or on the very early boards,
hmm
see if they still play.
Right, right.
And John was the only one who answered me back. Oh no, I think Brian Barrow did as well. I think I messaged him a couple times.
Okay, yeah, I've seen him pop up on the Facebook group here and there too.
Because in the Club Galactica Dream Federation, Brian Barrow was my manager.
Oh, there you go.
Because Rob Nadon and myself were a tag team called Judge and Jury, and we had a manager called the Warden.
Nice.
But I changed the cards because I made cards for them because Mark Ashby still had the originals,
hmm
and so I got the originals from him, and I had to fix them because they were kind of broken.
Yeah, I never know rules then.
Yeah, we didn't know the rules, and but I didn't like the Warden, so I had Judge, Jury, and Executioner because that's how it goes.
hmm
Except we already had an Executioner in the game, so I'd use the letter X with a line, Executioner.
Gotta avoid those copyrights.
Yep. But it was neat because I was listening to um, the Legends crew, and they were talking about because people used to write in for the newsletters, and so one of the last newsletters they did was for the most recent Galacticon, number
hmm
2, and one of the guys wrote in for a tag team, and it was Executioner and Pit Viper as the
Nice.
tag team champions, except he called them Dungeons and Dragons.
That's good.
I'm like, damn, that's a good name.
That's a good one.
I like that one. But I posted some pictures on the Filsinger Games
hmm
page. Some early ones my wife took, and I'm gonna say it's probably Galacticon 4 or 5.
Yeah, it was definitely before my time. I started at 7.
And there's pictures of Chad in it. We think maybe Corey, because Corey messaged me, and Corey's like, I think I'm the guy sitting down. He was just looking down like this. Minskoff is sleeping on the couch. I think Stephen Scher is there. Stephen Scher was a guy, uh, and some people who are like I get in depth into stuff, but Stephen Scher, he was so in depth, and he didn't look like a guy who could figure this stuff out. Like
Mhm.
without sounding rude, Steve, talked with that bit of a southern drawl. He had, he looked like a big overweight rocker dude, and that's what he did. But he had this booklet, and it showed up, and it was probably 50 pages, and it was detailed, like on how much a wrestler makes per card, how much of a
Wow.
draw he is, percentage wise, and it was Tom got like Tim got it. Tim's an accountant, and Tim's looking through like, damn, this guy's numbers are good. Like he worked it out,
Nice.
nice. And then also I think in the background is the guy, and I can't remember his name right now. He made probably my all-time favorite independent guy, Dagger Mac.
Okay.
I think he's in about Andrew Karras.
Okay. Another one I
I
don't
think
think I've ever met.
no, he only showed up to one, but he was one of the guys. He made his own card and put it on stock paper, which is something people didn't do back then too often.
Hmm. Yeah. That was something I always looked forward to at GalactiCon was just getting all the bootlegs that people would bring.
Yep.
And then I think it got out of hand there toward the turn of the century.
Yeah. At one point, it was crazy. You'd show up
Uh-huh.
and people would be like, I'm selling my set. I'm selling my set. I'm selling
Hmm.
because some people would show up with one or two cards and no one ever sold them really.
Right.
You
Right.
gave them away.
Hmm.
Like I gave Walter and Corway to everybody, and
Hmm.
Tim
Yeah.
gave because we're um Tim and myself and Tim did Alpantara Negro and
Dex
Tex
Remington.
Remington, and Paul Barnes did the artwork for those,
Hmm.
and
And you would
Randy did
swear that they were official cards because
and Randy did the art for Core and Walter.
hmm.
But Tim and myself wanted to make them look like real cards, so we did them up, as best we could. Compare, if you
Yeah.
look back then, they look good. They were on, very good quality because we used Mr. Hoffa,
Yeah.
and except Bob screwed up and doubled the amount of print on us, and we're like, Bob, we didn't order that many. If anybody needs, I still have hundreds
Probably
of
sell
these
them. Put them in the
of, the-
auction.
of these cards, and so it was pretty funny with some of the stuff that we did.
Hmm.
Um, but then we created the NGO set.
Yep. That was the
And
first set I remember.
I think, and then it sold amazingly well.
Hmm.
But what had happened with that set was in the same year, Rob Bobian lost all his stuff. It got taken out of the back of his car,
Hmm.
and Kurt Campbell had a fire and his house burned down. So both these guys lost their sets. So we took all the NGO money that we made, and
Hmm.
and a bunch of other people chipped in, and
Hmm.
Tom finished, topped it up, and we got them all their sets back.
Yeah, which is awesome. I remember being a part of that as well.
Yeah, everybody came forward and gave them all their stuff.
So I think that just shows you like the community aspect of this game is really what keeps it going, I think.
Yep.
Like people were just no one hesitated. Everyone who could jumped in to help replace these guys' cards and stuff. And I thought, very early on at a young age, like this is awesome.
Yep.
Like no
I,
one
I,
thought
I've
twice.
I've been part of some gaming communities over the years. Like I worked in the gaming industry for years, and I can tell you things like Warhammer. That's some those guys can be pretty damn toxic.
Hmm. There's a lot. Yeah, Magic the Gathering is a very toxic community at times. HeroClix is probably the most toxic gaming community I've ever been a part of.
Yeah, I was a part of that, and it had it, and for me that had its ups and downs as well.
Hmm.
Uh, Probably the next best for me would be X-Wing.
Hmm.
Like for guys that are very giving.
Yeah.
Like there's I know we're going off topic here, but there's one guy, Dwight, and he gets donations from all over the place. He'll message other squad leaders and stuff. Like I'm a squad leader for our group,
Hmm.
and he'll message and he's like, "Hey," he goes, "if you're having a tournament and you're short on prizes, let me know. I'll ship you prizes."
Hmm.
He goes, "But if you have extras, or you get some from somewhere, ship it back to us." And so Dwight acts like a central point. So people give him stuff, and then he tries to help out
That's cool.
other groups, and he doesn't keep anything for himself.
Hmm.
And so he goes all over, and people give him stuff, and he's great at that. He's gonna donate to our squad. I'm gonna run into him in uh, the week before GalactiCon.
Nice. Nice.
Like I got stuff set aside for you, and that's what this group is like.
Hmm. It feels like it's gotten less gatekeeper-ish since Legends came out. But I do feel like GWF is a little gate kept because there's no real good jumping on points.
Yeah.
And I hope that they change that sometime soon. Maybe after the Smith Worlds arc is done. Because it feels like this is a reset,
One
kind
with a
of.
brand new 24.
Yeah. Just so, us longtime fans, like if we want to, like, oh, we jump, we know the history, we could jump right into this if we wanted to. Like somebody like me and you who are like, we're years behind.
We're
We're
never going to catch
we're
up. And
never
just
gonna
so
get
you know,
caught up. I mean, I tried, and then it's like I don't remember anything, and it wasn't fun because I was just playing. It was just like it was a job. I gotta get 2110 done, and I don't remember any of it.
yeah,
But that's one thing I hope for is a new jumping on point in the next few years. A
yeah,
new 20, just 24 wrestlers, and then just slowly introduce new cards.
and you could, and that way you could be good too because you got 24 wrestlers. You don't got to worry about power creep. You can control your power creep just a little bit better.
hmm And honestly, I don't think the power creep from where we started to where we are now, 50 game years have passed, 50 plus game years. It's not really that bad of a power creep.
No,
But it's just like, but when you compare cards from the first set to now, you're like, whoa, wow, but it happened over 50 years.
yeah, and then you see all the game mechanics. Like
hmm
in the very first, there were no game mechanics,
No, it was just like the only game mechanic was the finisher. If you
and
wanted to count it that.
in the second set, the game had two special game mechanics. They introduced a tag finisher,
hmm
an Incredible Badger, and Bishop Hell's Flame,
The DQ finisher, yeah.
and that was it. That was like, whoa,
But then you got add one moves and all that kind of stuff now, and it just didn't. And some of it got a little carried away. I feel like they've dialed that back some, but I like the gimmicky stuff.
I like gimmicks. Like Mayhem was probably the first big gimmick finisher. You know,
hmm
you can hit a +6 finisher.
Yeah.
I still use Mayhem to this day, but +6, like that's a hell of a finisher.
hmm
But
Yeah.
you got a 50-50 shot of
Yep.
also eating it.
hmm And it's been a good balance. Like you could, is it worth the risk? But
And,
yeah.
and and people don't realize that with Mayhem, you didn't have to do it. It wasn't mandatory. But
Mm-mm.
I've yet to find a guy who went, yeah, no,
That's the
no,
character. I mean, he's a high flying risk taker. That's his shtick. He's gonna do it every time. He's not gonna like go, oh no, you know what? I'm not gonna do it this time.
like I'm a guy. I can tell you this. I've won more tournaments than anybody in GWF history. For two reasons. One, I've been to every
Yeah.
convention, but I still win a tournament a year pretty much
hmm
when I enter. I'll only enter two or three tournaments a
Yeah.
year because I like talking to everyone. I'm
It's the
not worried
best way
about
to meet
tournaments.
people.
I I see you guys once a year.
hmm
I want to spend my time talking to you.
I should be able to participate a lot more this year. Last year I only came up for one day,
Yeah.
so I missed out on a lot just doing that. And then since I was only there one day, I wanted to try and talk to as many people as I could. And then the years prior, I brought my kids with me. My family's coming with me this year, but they're going to go visit family, and they're just going to leave me at the con. So
And
should be able
like
to participate a little more.
and it's funny too because some people that you don't see in years show up. Like
Yeah.
when we talked about the big guy with the big ass beard comes up and he's talking to you, talking to me, and I'm like, I don't know who this is. The voice is vaguely familiar.
We've had them on our show.
We've talked to him. I've talked to him many a time, and I'm like, I don't know. The beard threw me because it just out of
Yeah.
nowhere.
Uh-huh. That was funny.
They were like, "Who's that?" And I was like, "Oh,
I
oh,
think that's Todd.
yeah."
I don't remember him being as tall as us either.
I remember him being tall. Like, I've pretty much always been the biggest guy there. I'm just shy of 6'6". But
hmm
I remember Todd being very close to, height wise to me. Werner is probably just as tall as me.
Yeah, Warner's tall. I think he's taller than you.
Yeah.
He's a giant.
People don't realize that about Werner. He
Yeah.
was a big dude.
Uh-huh. I bet you he's 6'7", 6'8", I bet.
He could very well
Because
be.
I had to look up to talk to him. I'm 6'3", 6'4", somewhere in that area. So,
Because yeah, he was like I said, but and he showed up for a couple cons, but he doesn't play the game. But he just like coming out to talk to people.
hmm
And for people who have spent a lot of time in the game, that's one of our big things. I still remember one convention at the we're playing at the college, and then they have a little back room there, and in the back room, Kirk Campbell, Mark Ashby, Pete Beck, and myself are playing euchre. We're just all playing euchre, and somebody comes back and he goes, "What are you guys doing? You know, they're doing that stuff out there, tournaments and stuff." I'm like, "Hey, this might be the only time this ever happens."
Right.
And it turned out, yeah, because the following year, Mark didn't show up, Kirk didn't show up,
hmm
and they haven't been back since.
Right.
And that's one of those things you don't know. Like, you know, when's the last time you're going to see some of these people?
hmm
And in some of the cases, like Mark or Kirk, it's just life happens,
Right.
so they
Right.
haven't been able to come back. Or in case of Smoke and Steve, they pass away in between years,
hmm
and so you just don't know anymore. Especially because we're all getting older.
Yeah. I was just a little kid. Well, not a little kid. I was a teenager, but I was 14 at my first GalactiCon.
I think I was 16 or 17
hmm
at the very first Galacticon. I remember because there were only two guys in their 20s, and it was Steve and Tim.
That's incredible.
So, yeah, it's changed. If you watch this and you want to come out, I don't know how far you are from um, Baltimore,
hmm
but if you put it out there, hey, I need a ride. This is where I live. A lot of times, a lot of these guys, like I had Brett Bays, Matt Dickendesher, and Rob Bobian drive from Detroit, pick me up in Cambridge, and continue down through the border.
It's a little out of the way.
Ah, for them, not much because they just went either this way or this way.
hmm
We were both going to Jamestown. It's for them, it was roughly 3.5 hours either way,
hmm
but it slowed them up because they had to cross the border twice.
Right.
But if you ask, a lot of these guys will pick you up. So many guys like, yeah, I did this, but I picked up this guy and this guy along the way.
Yeah, you
Like
hear those stories all the
when
time.
we were going into Iowa last year, I had so many people were like, "Why didn't you fly?" Because I drove 14 hours.
Yeah.
That's right, 14 hours I drove. So don't tell me, oh, that 6 hour drive is a long. I drove 14. I'm driving. If I drive to Baltimore, it's 8.5. Cleveland was 8. Pittsburgh was 10. Philadelphia was 12.
Pittsburgh was 2 for me, and I live in Pittsburgh.
So, so yeah, it can take a while to do it. You just have to put in the effort.
hmm And it's worth the trip.
Oh yeah.
I feel like it's my family reunion. I'm not really close with any of my family, but I have this little gaming community family that I get to see once a year. So,
People ask me why, how come I come down every year? One is important because I don't get to see these people. I like I grew up, in a big family, but we weren't close.
hmm
I'm closer with, you know, these people here. Like your kids call me Uncle Mike.
hmm
My kid calls Tim, Uncle Tim,
Yep,
because it's become a tight knit community.
it has. It has. And we're always willing to let new people in.
Yep.
We actually like when new people show up.
Yeah.
Hey, who's that guy?
And as in Chris Sinclair said, he showed up like 3 times, and he shows up about every 4 years, and he goes, everybody just, oh yeah, you're back.
hmm
Same with we just had him and his wife on
Nick.
Nick. Nick was like 12 or 14 years between, and he said nobody's going to remember him. And he shows up, and people are like, "Oh my God, Nick's here!"
Yep. We remember.
And then new people last year, like Kevin Ford and his
Hmm
friend, who we can never remember his name.
who listens to this, so we really feel
Yeah,
bad.
I know. Super bad. Leave your message. Leave your name so we can give you the shout out. But
It's so
they
funny.
they kind of freaked me out because I was eating breakfast beside them the one time, and they're like, "Hey, you're Mike Fortune. I watch your what? I was recognized from YouTube for the
There you
first time."
go. That's
Kind of weird,
fantastic.
Joe. But we should wrap this up here.
Yeah, thanks for watching, everybody. If you haven't done so yet, please hit that subscribe button. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. While you're here, scroll on down to the description where you'll find our friends who make Filsinger Games related content, including the official Filsinger Games podcast roll up, the Legends team's Uncharted Territory, Dizzy Dice from Lee Longpree, solo promoter from Grant Pachoco. Grant is also here on YouTube, along with Dave Little's Heartland Championship Wrestling. He streams live every Saturday, I believe. And you'll find Brad Plays 81 and Bucky 749. I'm on Twitch here and there. I'm not going to say it's even one day a week at this point. Ever since I've had a third kid, Twitch kind of had to take a back burner. But I get on there when I can. I try and keep the Fed interesting, even though it's kind of sporadic. Those are also be on this channel as well. The rebroadcasts will be here if you want to get caught up on that. Yeah, hopefully we see some new faces at GalactiCon and all of you. If you come see us at GalactiCon and you like the show, let us know and we'll talk about you on the show and hopefully remember your name.
We're at 191 viewers,
Hmm
and
It's creeping up.
I'm just gonna get up here and move. But I
Uh-oh.
finished off. We can my Lego sets
Oh, there it is on the top shelf.
up on the top there. The Java barge.
Nice.
So
You
had some people wondering about my collection.
need to bring me that Max Rebo figure.
You got about 45 Darth Vaders I need.
I do. I have a lot. But yeah, thanks everybody for watching, and we will see you next time. Have a good
Yep.
one.
Night all.